Hey everybody, it's Nick here, and welcome to the Omniverse of Nick, and part 1 of 2 to my next survival story, What If Doc Ock Survived? Now, before we get into today's episode, be sure, as always, to smash the like button, subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick channel, and further acknowledge and support the future of the channel by checking out the Discord, Patreon, and Google Doc on the homepage or the channel bio to continue supporting the channel and what will be the future of the channel. So, let's get into part 1 of 2 of this next survival story. Now, the title for this and the setting for this is the MCU, and it is What If Doc Ock, my favorite Spider-Man character, by the way, and what if he survived? The first part will touch upon Spider-Man's 2, the ending of it, and 3, and then we'll go into No Way Home for part 2, being the finale. So let's dive in. Now, for those not familiar, Doc Ock was the antagonist for Spider-Man 2, and brought a whole new meaning to a villain with the robotic arms and just everything about him, including his machine, but mainly the arms. And in the end, he changed and sacrificed himself to take down his machine and ultimately drowned in the river with his machine, ending up dead at the end of the second movie. But then we would see him return right at the beginning of No Way Home, Spider-Man that collabed all Spider-Man things together and would fight Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and then would later change again to help all three Spider-Men cure the villains and try to get Green Goblin down. So, that leaves the question, what if he didn't die? Would he even return in No Way Home? Would he return with both the Spider-Men and honestly make No Way Home way too overpowered? And what about Venom and Harry and Sandman? Well, that's what we're going to be finding out in these two parts here. And brace yourselves, even if it's two parts, I got a few epic moments that you guys are not going to want to miss here. So let's dive in. We are just about to get to the end of the second Spider-Man movie. Doc Ock is about to sacrifice himself to take down the machine. But this time, Tobey's Spider-Man doesn't let him do it alone, because he cares for him too much as a mentor and a friend. And now that he's changed, he doesn't want Doc Ock to waste the chance that's been given to him. So, Spider-Man, well, Tobey's Spider-Man, whatever you want to call him, helps Doc Ock drown the machine without Doc Ock accidentally or, purposely drowning in the river with it. So, both with a combination of Doc Ock's arms and intelligence and Tobey's Spider-Man swinging and the webs, are able to get the machine in the river without anybody dying. After that, Doc Ock looks at Tobey's Spider-Man, and Tobey looks at Doc Ock, and they're both wondering how it ended up from them fighting to them helping each other. And Tobey's Spider-Man wonders, what's he gonna do now? Is he gonna be a danger again in the future? Or has he actually changed his ways? Doc Ock says that he's able to control the arms now, but he can't go out in the public like this, or maybe even ever. But they will see him again. But he just cannot be here for the long term. He has to go off on his own for a long time to be able to better wield the arms and change. Because right now, he's got a lot of ground to make up if he ever wants to be seen in the public eye again, or even gain the trust of Peter again. So, while Toby's Spider-Man gets MJ, and they're about to go off. They take one last look at Doc Ock, who takes one last look at them. And they both know that they will cross paths again one day. But hopefully, it'll be under much better circumstances. And so, time skip would ensue between Spider-Man's 2 and 3. We cut to Doc Ock, who has been training with the arms incessantly over this time, and has actually mastered the art of being able to control the arms and not having the arms control him. So he's completed that without having to be cured or, Toby's Peter Parker Spider-Man encouraging him, But then one day he sees a TV and he can't believe what he's seeing on the news. A weird sand-like man is attacking, and apparently Spider-Man fought against this Sandman and, kind of lost. So, Doc Ock knows that if this guy's going around causing mayhem and Spider-Man's having trouble beating him, Doc Ock has to come back. Wanted in the public eye again or not. This is his time to show that he has fully redeemed himself. So, Doc Ock makes his way into the city. It's been a long time since he was in this city. A long time. So he went away from the city for a long time to make sure that no one in the city would remember him, or at least if they did remember him, it would take a long time, and to just further his redemption. Soon enough, he gets into the city, but still trying to remain out of sight because he doesn't know if people still remember him. But honestly, with the Sandman running around, might not be important. But just while he's traveling into the city with his arms, he sees something in the distance. Seems like something is swinging. It's Spider-Man. And he tries to get closer to, yell out to Peter. But then Doc Ock notices something very wrong. This Spider-Man is not the same Spider-Man that he knew. For one thing, it looks like the suit that he has on is fully black. It's not anywhere close to the red and blue that he's familiar with Spider-Man wearing. And seems like he is also much more brutal and evil looking. And Doc Ock knows he can't let this just sit out of his mind. If that's his friend being mutated or controlled maybe by the Sandman, he doesn't know about the Venom symbiote yet. He decides to follow in pursuit, but in case he is being mutated or controlled, especially if he has that spider sense, he decides to lay low for now. So he follows, but he doesn't let Spider-Man know that he's following him. He gets into the sewers and the subway tunnels right as Spider-Man pulled the tube or the big tub of water and spilt it and seemingly killed Sandman and that whole fight. He arrives right at the end of it and cannot believe what he is seeing. Spider-Man beat that Sandman, yes, but he seems so angry and so menacing. This is not like Spider-Man at all. He didn't even kill him, and he had multiple opportunities. And this black suit must be the cause of it, and he makes himself known. But right whenever he is making himself known and trying to get Peter's attention, he attacks. Peter's Spider-Man Venom symbiote controlled. He attacks, and this throws Doc Ock off. He didn't expect this to be so sudden, and he has no choice but to fight off Peter. But quickly into this fight, no matter how much control over the arms Doc Ock has, for one thing, Peter has the memory of Doc Ock returning, and all he can think about when he's looking at Doc Ock is just another villain that he should have killed, and who put MJ and his whole life in this downward spiral. That he's just thinking negative thoughts. And Doc Ock's able to hold his own much better than Sandman did in this battle. But this Venom-controlled Peter Spider-Man is still too strong. And no matter how much control Doc Ock has, he's beginning to lose the fight. But he still is trying his best and not totally losing, because he's putting up a much better battle. And soon enough, he gets Peter in a hold with his arms, in a hold that he cannot escape from. He tells Peter to wake up. This isn't him. Remember who he is. Remember MJ. Remember his Aunt May. And remember that he changed. And that Peter is not like this. Change back. Don't let this thing, whatever's controlling him. He now knows that it's not Sandman. Whatever this thing is, it's stuck to him like a virus. And he tells Peter to remember who he is. This isn't him. And Peter, the Spider-Man part of his mask, comes off. And he begins to try to get the Venom symbiote off. But little does Peter know, the Venom symbiote just found a new host. Because of how strong Doc Ock is and how he was able to get him in a hold. And now Peter's fighting the symbiote. It now knows that Peter is not an ideal host for it. So, without any singular warning, the symbiote latches on to Doc Ock. And Doc Ock can't do anything here because this was so sudden. So, we get Venom Doc Ock. And as I mentioned a few times before, you're going to be seeing a few AI-generated pictures of this, and not actually custom made by me. It's AI generated because no person on the internet for the past 20 years has made a Venom Doc Ock. So I'm probably the first. So there you go. You get Venom Doc Ock in this story. And with this, Spider-Man is back in his original Peter Parker Spider-Man persona and sees now everything that's going on, and has got his actual mindset back and realizes what the symbiote did to him, and sees Doc Ock with the symbiote now, and he knows that no matter if he tries to talk to him or anything like that or fight, he's far too exhausted and weak right now. And to add to that, he knows that there's no talking him out of this, especially if that Venom symbiote got the arms back in control. He has no way to ensure his victory. He needs help. He either needs to get that Sandman on his side, even though, he'd rather frigging not, because he's still in that mindset, just a little bit of hating Sandman and not forgiving him. Or he needs to get his best friend Harry. He just needs to clear everything up. And his first step is going to Gwen and then MJ, apologizing for everything, getting them to safety before this new Venomized Doc Ock becomes a problem, and then finding Harry or the Sandman to help him. So, he swings away, knowing full well he'd never win this fight alone. So, also, this delayed fight and Doc Ock showing up and all of this happening, you know what that means? That means that Eddie Brock is not going to get the Venom symbiote, because he would have left the church by this point. And by this point, he would have arrived at the church. There's no Peter there trying to get the symbiote off with the bell, and he would have left the church by the time that there'd be no reason for Peter to go to the church in this timeline. So, Eddie Brock is not getting the Venom symbiote. It's fully Doc Ock. Just throwing that out there. So, that's not happening here. Eddie Brock is just going to be an angry guy for the rest of his life. Meanwhile, Venomized Doc Ock, another AI-generated picture, by the way, meets Sandman, and honestly, that conversation goes exactly the same, except with Doc Ock having the Venom symbiote leads to a much kind of different conversation while still being the idea for both of them to team up. And Sandman still agrees. So, the both of them, Venomized Doc Ock and Sandman, team up. Meanwhile, Spider-Man's, Peter Parker's Toby Spider-Man, again, whatever the frick you want to call him, goes and finds Gwen and takes off his mask, leading to him being Spider-Man and apologizing for lying and putting her he was thinking of putting her in a very bad situation and feels like he already did, and just apologizes wholeheartedly, just tells her who he is and says that MJ is his actual love and that he has a lot of making up to do with her. But he hopes that this doesn't change the fact that they could still be, friends and still care about each other, He did save her life, So it takes Gwen some time, but she accepts this and knows why Peter had to do this. It's a lot of responsibility. And, with great power comes great responsibility. Ha ha, obvious joke. With this, Peter is glad that Gwen accepted this and now knows he has to go to MJ. But that's where the realization that she has been captured sets in. And now Peter has no choice but to fight alone. But soon enough, Harry does show up. And this fight would go almost exactly the same, except Peter and Harry are almost on the more losing side because it's Doc Ock with the Venom symbiote and not just a random guy like Eddie Brock. So, definitely a little bit more harder to fight, but not for long. Peter Parker can't believe what he sees. Doc Ock manages throughout the fight, and Peter trying to talk to him and Harry trying to talk to him, to get the symbiote off, and soon enough, after a long drawn out and brutal battle, it starts to work. Doc Ock, he's still in control of the arms. The Venom symbiote didn't get to him. It's amazing. That was pure luck right there. Doc Ock, with this advantage and the realization of Peter and everything setting in, with his arms, the robotic ones, just rips off the Venom symbiote and crashes to the ground. After that, Doc Ock reaffirms himself and captures the Venom symbiote in his arms, completely trapping it with all of Doc Ock's arms. Sandman, Toby's Peter Parker Spider-Man, and Harry then all team up on a combined attack, and the Venom symbiote is completely and utterly destroyed. It's not even just a grenade this time. It's all of them teaming up to a combined attack. So any hope of the Venom symbiote surviving this and Eddie Brock still getting it, that's dashed now completely. And then we see Sandman approach Peter, Harry, and Doc Ock. And Peter's like, why after everything would you help us and save our lives? That Venom symbiote you could have killed us, yet you chose to switch sides again. What's this all about? And Sandman would then explain his whole backstory, and that it was all for his daughter, and that he never meant to kill Peter's uncle, and that it was all just a spur of the moment thing, and it was mainly for his daughter. And he never meant for things to go this far. And he only teamed up because he was angry. And he knew that after Doc Ock got that symbiote off, that he had made a very big mistake and chose to redeem himself for it. And Doc Ock apologizes heavily to Peter too, and says that he never meant to attack Peter like that and have that symbiote gain control of him, especially after all that effort to gain control of the arms. And he's glad that he kept control of those at least. And Peter knows that he definitely didn't mean it. And he forgives both of them. And they both talk to each other again about what's been happening since they last saw each other, besides the obvious stuff. And Doc Ock says that he still can't be seen in the public eye, especially not after the symbiote mess, and that he's going to go with Sandman so they can both try to find a path towards redemption and try to lead towards a better life. They just can't be seen in this sight of the public eye anymore, and that he will never stop being Peter's friend and, sort of mentor, and that he hopes that Peter can find solace in like a new life, you know? And that this doesn't change anything between them. And Peter says it doesn't. So the movie ends off with Doc Ock and Sandman both leaving. So it's not just Sandman. And I feel it'd be cool with like Doc Ock's arms on like Sandman's, vanishing with the sand. It'd be kind of cool. Kind of like how Electro teleported in the sand and everything like that. That'd be really cool to see. Although it'd be kind of off. Anyway, Harry, if you guys didn't notice, is still alive in this timeline. And it's honestly kind of more brutal Spider-Man 3, yet a kind of happy ending. Because Harry is alive. And Peter didn't do as much in the Venom symbiote to get MJ cross at him. So, that actually makes for a much better romantic and, happy ending to this movie. But we're not done with the story. We still have No Way Home to cover. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for the moment. No Way Home will be the finale of this tale. Hope you guys enjoyed this, because honestly, especially the Doc Ock Venom is probably like the key moment for this series. But No Way Home's going to have a few big moments before we end off this two-part tale. So, with all that said, hope you guys enjoyed, and what do you guys think will happen in No Way Home with Harry being alive as well as Doc Ock? Stay tuned for part 2 and the finale to What If Doc Ock Survived.